Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you guys are at. I hope you had a fantastic day. It's SoulSaint here, and we got a lot of news coming up, and I want to just kind of like preface this. I know we've been kind of a little bit absent lately, and I just want to have a moment just to kind of talk with you guys and just let you guys know what was going on. So over the last couple of days, we actually just had a big event that kind of happened on both the channels, not only on YouTube but also on Twitch, where we normally live stream at. And we actually did a subathon, our first ever subathon experience, and boy was it a doozy. I want to just say it like that. We had like a lot going on in terms of just the amount of time we were live doing a bunch of various different activities and whatnot, and it's been just a crazy journey, so much so that I needed a bit of a downtime period, because it was just nonstop touch and go of like rest, wake up, get to streaming, eat maybe somewhere along the lines, try to take care of some of my like IRL obligations and whatnot, while also going back, rinse, repeat. And we just kept the ball going for about, I think, if memory serves me correctly, we started on the 31st of last month all the way up until like the 11th or 12th or something like that. So we roughly went about 11 days, if I remember correctly, about my time frames. But it was such a fun experience, and to be honest with you, I'm very grateful for the community to have given me a lot of loving and supporting and good times all around. I got to spend a lot of time with people from both sides of the pond, you know, whether you're overseas from the North American group or with the North American group. I got to spend a lot of time with people, which is really, really dope, and I can't complain. So what we are going to do is we're going to catch up on some of the news that's coming out today in terms of like things that are coming on the spectrum of Raid, as well as some things that we're going to be doing in terms of events that you guys might see here in a little bit. So we're going to celebrate, we're going to enjoy our moment here, but let's get down to the conversation of it all. So one of the first things that I think was kind of addressed that I wanted to talk about first in terms of like news is that they did make a general announcement on their official Discord. And I'm just going to read it kind of a little bit, like kind of gloss over it a little bit. But basically, the long and short of it, they kind of acknowledge that there is a need for change when it comes to Hydra Clash. Some of the things they talked about, they're going to be trying to, what directions they're going to try to prioritize their focus in terms of addressing the issue, which is modifying Hydra's general battle mechanics. Maybe they might be introducing some new elements of like how to play into the fight. That like some champions are doing very, very well in, some people are not doing as well in, and they want to kind of address that first and foremost. That was the first thing. The second is they're going to make changes to the Hydra class competition. That like there are some meta comps right now that are very dominant in today's game and terrain for Clash, to a point where it's like if you're not doing it, you're kind of putting yourself on the back foot, right? So maybe they're going to be looking to make some changes in addition to the mechanics of the battle, to also try to incorporate ways that it's more diverse, which I'm all game for. I'm a proponent that even as someone who uses the Trunda cheese, I am particularly against the idea of such a linear meta comp, and then that's all that is, you know? I like the fact that you can have multiple champions in this game, and a different combination of those can give you a efficient answer that will give you something that's comparable to another composition that may have totally different champions. I like diversity in this game. You hear me talk about it all the time, and I'm still in the same mindset that like diversity is the thing that sells this game very well. So to expand and to push your account in a way that is driving in that direction, I feel like is a good thing. So hopefully they look at that as an opportunity to improve, or maybe to retcon some issues that are currently going on within Hydra Clash. So rebalancing specific champions, which is a part of what this conversation is that they're trying to be careful about it, is the way that they approach it. And their exact words is rebalancing specific champions, but only when Hydra Clash mode and Hydra as a boss are adjusted. So they're going to do the other things first in terms of like the Clash competition and how they equate points and how they're going to balance it out. Maybe adjusting multipliers on putting caps and stuff like that not being as ideal. They're tinkering with it, and they're testing some things right now currently, but they have not said that they're against doing champion rebalancing in a sense, but they want to do it carefully and only if it's necessary. So I think they're trying to find another way to address it first, and that would be like the last wall of defense in terms of like them trying to figure out a way to make Clash more presentable, more enjoyable, more diverse perhaps. So that's something that they're aware of and they're looking at as an option. Consolation rewards for being ranked 4th and 5th in the Hydra Clash. Right now, if you're unfamiliar with how Clash goes, and this is for maybe players who are just now getting into the game, right now in terms of Hydra Clash, you only get rewards based on placing in the 1st, the 2nd, or 3rd, and it varies, right? So it's your overall amount of point participation itself, so your Clash contribution will net you a certain type of chest. And then the ranking of your clan as a whole will give you another tier of that same chest. So basically, the difference is that the quality of the top chest gives you a little bit more options to work with. So it drops 9s comparatively to like 2nd being 8, and then of course 3rd being 7. And then, of course, the quality of what you get will also range too as well. So if you're only getting 35 mil on the bottom side of any of these tiers, all the way up to 650, it's going to range a little differently because you're going to notice that, like, on the 35 side, they got, like, some 5-star rare accessories or drops that you can get. Whereas, like, on the top end side, it's more so epic and higher only, right? And they also have mythic options in there too as well, which is present throughout there, but not to the same detail. So, like, it's a varying or scaling range of, like, rewards that you get. You don't get the best rewards if you're doing the bare minimum, obviously, right? So, with that being said, it's very important for people to be aware that they are trying to find some kind of, they kind of did it as a part of their roadmap, that they were looking at, they're saying consolation prizes or some kind of reward in general that may be just for participating in Clash altogether. Maybe it's them trying to drive an incentive to just straight up allow people to get more involved with Clash, because Clash is already competitive, and losing is very disheartening for some members, and it's very, a very complicated matter that people are trying to navigate, right? So they did list that as something that was very, very big. I will also say that they kind of made a notion about, like, changing points and whatnot, and I won't go too far into detail about it without saying that just doing multipliers alone may be a little bit an issue. Maybe a rotating to introduce an element of, like, this is my recommendation, and it may not mean much, but in terms of how they could release the Clash update, could incorporate things that would allow us to play around with different champions, and that could be something. I know there's, like, two sides of that story. Like, it's similar to the Sin City in a sense where it has this rotational approach. Some people may not have access to certain champions that would, be a hindrance for them. So I could see that being a problem. Also, a lot of people work hard to get their champions, whether they spend money or they saved up or whatever their means of contributing towards acquiring certain champions are. They don't want to be punished for that, right? So I understand that argument, but also to like add some diversity, some flavor of change, that's something that may be worth a conversation. Maybe not something so strict, maybe bonus points for using champions of a specific faction or something like that, but not like saying that all champions are exempted outside of this small pool, right? So maybe they could do something around those lines and tinker with that idea. The multiplier point also hitting like a specific cap after a certain point was something that they mentioned that they kind of wanted to avoid. So they said putting a cap on maximum damage or number of Hydra Clash points for each difficulty level looks a bit heavy-handed, and it's not in their plans at the moment. So it's not that they're completely away from the idea as a solution, but they don't feel like it is the answer, so they're trying to approach it from a different angle. That's what it seems like. So I'm all ears. If they've had some things that they're trying to do, they said that, like, basically the list of those things that we talked about, those 4 key points, are subject to being changed or maybe being expanded into even more depending on how the experience of it goes. So basically they're going to bounce the deployment of this new update to see how it's received by the general audience, and then also from there they're going to maybe lean more into the areas that people like and maybe less in the areas that people don't like. They're going to basically play it by ear, and they're going to get a feel for how the community is overall feeling about it. So I think that's going to be a very interesting way to approach it. They kind of gave like an on the ground quality a reality of like how their implementation is going to go, and I thought that was a very unique choice of words. Now, with that being said, there's also going to be some updates in terms of what we're going to have going into tomorrow at the time of this recording. We are in Monday. I'm going to go and show you the map real quick. We are on the 17th. On 18th, we're going to have a progressive event chance for some specific drops, and I'm going to show you some of the champions they got. Number one, probably the most enticing one for me personally, is going to be Trunda. Trunda is actually one of the meta champions currently for Hydra Clash. And unless they decide to find a way to remove the validity or the necessity of having this champion as a competitive outlet, she's probably going to be still used as a competitive outlet, right? With that being said, having her empowered or having her faction guardian as an option, or even getting her for the first time, was actually really, really like nice, right? So as of right now, she's probably one of the most enticing for me on this Tuesday. We also have another champion, another list of champions, so I'm going to go through all of them real quick. Samson the Masher. That's going to be one of the champions I actually don't have still. It's a epic HP champion, or sorry, legendary HP spirit champion for the Skinwalkers. Very, very unique champion. They're also going to have Gottfried Brassclad, which is a dwarf, I believe. I call him the trash can because he looks like he has like a trash bin on his head or something like that. But one of the more annoying passives in the game too, believe it or not. But yeah, defensive champion for the dwarves, magic, legendary. Then they're also going to have Fushan. So for those of you guys that might be interested in updating your Demytha comps into one of the more stronger ones, which is Myth Fu. Fu Shan is actually a staple in that composition. He has a increased speed aura by 24%. Also, pretty good kit in terms of being able to do a lot of damage. And he's used actually quite a bit in Sin City, too, so not a bad nod towards the champion. It's going to be a Lizard Legendary Attack Force champion. Now, as for the Sacreds, Ancients, and Primals, those are the champions you're going to be able to have access to. On the Void side, though, we have 2 in the table. It's going to be Tumisia, who is a Skinwalker Void attack type champion. Void. She has HP burn, decreased speed, stuns, and basically a scaling factor off of HP burns, believe it or not, which is kind of cool. She's a really cool champion. I have a couple copies of her, and I still haven't used her yet, so I would like to get y'all's opinion. If y'all think she's actually a really good champion worth going for, let me know in the comments below. I'm actually very curious. I might even build her up and see how she feels. Another one's going to be Soulless, actually, believe it or not. One of the first Void Legendary champions I got my hands on, believe it or not. Let's see if I can find him right there. He's a little bit power crept, I'm not going to lie. Still got a lot of love for him. It has soul in the name. Obviously, I have a little bit of love for this guy, but definitely got power crept. Really strong as a provoke option, though, for Hydra, since we're on the topic of that being, you know, our last conversation pace. Defensive nuker, too, as well. I mean, he's Void, so he's not a bad option, but no increased defense built into his kit. Maybe that's something that maybe Plarium, if they're looking to do some rebalancing or some updates, he might be worthwhile to give that to himself, because most of the good nukers nowadays give themselves self buffs, like think Ragash. Let's see who else. Alaz, who is actually really, really strong and now also has a increased defense right before he does his big damage ability on his base form. So, you know, just a little conversation notch there. But that's not all. On Wednesday, we're gonna have a whole nother batch of champions they're going to be able to get our hands on. And we're going to start with, on the Wednesday side, we're going to get Glycat. Glycat is going to be your Force Support Legendary champion from the Sylvan Watchers. He has a really cool Veil incorporated kit where they're able to also do more damage based off of the fact that they have Veil, or if the enemy has Veil. So that's kind of cool. Increased attack to buff your team, as well as turn meter. Some people actually told me that they really like this guy as a lead booster, since he does turn meter boosting in a PvP team, which I didn't really kind of perceive initially, but pretty cool nod. Also has a revive, but if it doesn't have anybody revive, it still does the effects that you're looking at right here, which is really, really cool. Really, really strong champion. I like the passive. The passive would be maybe even grounds worth for me using and incorporating maybe into in Hydra PvE content. He comes with a Veil, so that's actually obviously really good for the Torment Head, as well as buffs for the squad, increased defense, increased attack, and then having that passive that adds a little bit of scaling. Could be very, very noteworthy. So very curious about it. Also with the speed aura too. Not bad. Not a bad champion. I always thought he was pretty cool. He looks really dope too. I mean, he's kind of like a tree guy with a little, thorn mustache or thorn beard. It's really cool. Estrid, one of our champions that we actually got during a fusion. If you didn't go for it and you got another chance to maybe pull for it, or if you want a copy, say less. Estrid's also going to be in the pool here too as well. Your go-to speed booster actually has an arena aura, which is really cool. Increased speed, decreased speed, weaken, increased attack, and then of course the chance to sleep. And then has the ability to heal based off the fact of turn meter boosting. So really, really cool champion. And then of course Elva. We're getting a lot of champions in the Silver Watches this round. One of the actual underrated in my opinion, kind of been power crept in my account in terms of case usage, because I have maybe some alternative champions that I'm a little bit more enticed towards using, especially for PvP. But even on PvE side, a very, very noteworthy champion that has a cleanse, block debuff, increased speed on a 3-turn cooldown when fully booked, continuous heal whenever she uses her A1 on the lowest HP champion. Also gives them a Veil on the lowest HP champion at the end of this champion's turn, and then of course the revive on a single target, giving them at least 50% turn meter. 50% turn meter, increased defense, and of course increased attack, which means that if it's a nuker of some capacity, they're able to get back into the fight maybe sooner and be able to pack a punch because they're buffed up on top of that. So also has a speed aura, usable in Clan Boss, definitely in Sin City, Faction Wars, or just your general case usage support champion. Really good choice. Really good choice. Not a bad one. I love the way she looks, by the way. And then of course we also have someone who I feel like shines probably the best in not only Faction Wars but specifically Hydra, Archbishop Pinthroid. He is one of the more well-known block buff champions that could use on the AoE. Also has the ability to give increased attack, or increased accuracy, as well as a 100% heal reduction on all enemies for 2 turns. And then, of course, they can't be resisted if they are part of this faction, this list of factions. So Demon Spawn, Undead, Knights Revenant, they get punished for it. Don't really look at him as a champion that you use in PvP outlets, but definitely Hydra with the shielding, and the healing, and the increased defense is not a bad nod at all. Has an aura, I believe, also for accuracy in all battles by 50, which is not bad. pretty good for if you're looking for a block buff option. There's one of many, but still, nevertheless, it's an option for you, especially since he's also Spirit. Might be good into some rotations where maybe your Magic Ugo or something of likeness is, you know, a little bit lacking, you know? Anyways, we also have on the Void side now, some more, how do I say this? Maybe power crept a little bit because of the new fact that we have like a lot more mythics in the game, or a lot more people are prone to using mythics nowadays because they're very strong. Warlord. A lockout champion, very, very good. One of the stronger ones that's able to maybe permaluck if you're able to get him fast enough, with your team comp also being a factor. Has a heal with a block debuff and a shield, as well as the ability to increase the duration of debuffs with his A1. Really, really strong champion. I actually still don't have a copy of him, and I wouldn't mind it. I'm not gonna lie. But he's going to be also on the progressive for this Wednesday, along with one of the newer ones that I think has been very under the radar. Very, very cool to look into. I would say like the legendary look way, so it looks very, very similar to Demitha. But Senna Amberheart, goes speedy, very fast champion, fills turn meter, increased speed, continuous heals, with a revive that brings ally attack to the table, which I thought is super cool. They join and they hit the enemy with the lowest HP, so maybe giving you a chance to kind of clear somebody out that was almost dead by being supportive. And then, of course, continuous heals, activating fills the turn meter, along with her being you know, speed of all battles by 19%. Very, very strong champion. I think very under the radar right now, but I think a very cool champion nevertheless. When I did my breakdown of her when she first got released, I thought I was like, man, that's actually an interesting kit, and I like it. I like it. She's gonna be pretty cool. But she is a void, so those are a little bit harder to acquire in my opinion, unless you're spending. So, a lot of big events in terms of like, you know, progressive summons. Let me know in the comments, is there something in particular you guys are looking forward to summoning? I think for right now, me, in terms of like where my aspirations are at, I'm leaning towards Trunda. It'd be really cool to be able to finish off the faction guardians. I don't think I'm done with mine on the dwarf side. I think I'm actually at the very end of it, so if I got her, I would be on the teeter-tot of like maybe putting this in to get extra 10 speed for everybody, or maybe I just lean into empowerment right off the rip and start empowering my Trunda. We'll have to see. Speaking of Trunda, there's one other additional thing that we're going to be taking care of today, and it's going to be like my celebration as a thank you guys for all the support you've been doing, not only on this channel, but also on Twitch when we did our Soulathon, which everybody is like talking about, when's the next one? We're looking forward to it, and I'm like, maybe a little bit. Or a special circumstance. I wanted it to be special, and I wanted to make sure that every single time we do a event like that, it's something special. So we're going to try to keep it in the line of something special. Would have to maybe bring us towards that direction. We'll have to see. I don't know. But we are going to pull some SoulStones today. We have an Altar of Soul Prism Jewel event for SoulStone. I'm just going to say this right off the rip. This is a very, very crazy pool of champions that you can get SoulStones for. I'll just say it like that. And here's why. Trunda, one of the top, if not the top, actually I'm going to go ahead and say it on paper, the top damage dealer for Hydra right now. W. Duchess kind of has bad. I hate to say it because she's one of my near and dear in terms of like champions that have carried me in this game all the way up until recently. She's been power crept, but still, nevertheless, a very solid champion. If you don't have all the over expansive and OP champions, some of them are on this list, by the way. Still very, very strong in terms of being a support champion through and through. Duchess, not a bad not. One of the better legendaries in terms of like the scaling of all legendaries that could be in this champion pool. Definitely one of the better ones. I'll say at least like that. King Narcisse, the king. He's up there, man. He's actually one of the top inside. I actually just got mine 6-star not too long ago, so I don't feel too bad about not maybe dipping in the toes for him. See, I got him. But nevertheless, if you don't have him 6-star, a very, very desirable champion to get up there. Believe you me having him at 6-star feels very good. Just enough said. Siffy, one of the other ones that I would say is the power creeper. She's always been the more, I hate to say this because like I've always been on Team Duchess for like the longest, but the better. One of the better ones. She's such an aggressively strong champion. Also has a strong background of being able to support too as well in terms of like both defensive and offensive capabilities. Whereas Duchess is a little bit more reactive in a sense. Siffy, she's she's still holding up well in today's meta where we're starting to shift more towards mythical champions in general. She still holds up as one of the best supports in the game, both from a PvP and a PvE perspective. Her kit is bonkers. And then, of course, the one that I would say makes King Narcisse look even better in terms of his kit is Ancora. Very strong champion. I also have a 6-star, so it doesn't feel as bad there. But I will say that these champions are all top tier in their own respect. And they are worth going for if you don't have them already maxed out or if you don't have them blessed to a high capability. Or like basically, the higher the need for them, the better they are to pull for. Is how I always view it, right? And these are all very strong champions. They're very strong in their respective areas, both PvP and PvE for Ancora. Same thing with Sippy. Same thing with Duchess. They're all strong in their own regards there. Maybe some a little bit less in certain areas, but overall very strong. The top tier, one of the top tier nukers in the game right now in his respective PvP branch. Hydra, the go-to in terms of you want to be competitive, that you need to have one of these. It's just enough said, right? Still a little bit more of like a definitely got power creep. Still has her case uses, very niche, but I would say overall not as strong as some of the more highlighted champions that we just talked about. Mariska still very strong, especially with Terrace in play, but definitely has taken a little bit of a knockoff from being the #1 in terms of support with Terrace to being maybe, you know, a little bit, it shifted down. The power crept has definitely arrived because there's been a lot more responses to the Maritaris comp, but nevertheless, the reason why we are even having this conversation because Maritaris was the thing, right? So still very strong in her own respective right, still worth maybe going for, especially if you're using it for PvP with Terrace. That duo is still strong. It's the reason why this one's relevant just as much is because of the fact that they are a counter or a direct response to something like the Maritaris. So very good. ITAC. I actually think that in terms of like daily login champions, one of the ones that's still holding up pretty well. Usable in Spider, Burn Explosion comps. You know, basically the boss killer for IG. I still use him in my team. Really, really good there because burns and then of course decreased attack is very strong there. You know, good duo partner, especially when you're progging all the way up until, you know, stage 25 for Sand Devil. A lot of viability, even usable in Hydra. Very good champion. Very, very capable and a very, very good one to have for free. I'm not gonna lie. Feels good, man. It feels good. Brogni. I won't lie. He's been definitely having his waves of relevance. You know, definitely shined with a lot of the affinity comps. Still very suitable for, you know, speed comps or speed tune comps for like clan boss, for example. Very strong champion in general, but definitely has seen him come in and out of flux when it comes to certain meta teams and whatnot. Affinity comps aren't as like crazily sought after in terms of like the old, you know, Corpulent Cadaver, Madman, and all those. Like he's kind of fallen down there now with Emic and Wixwell. I think people have been leaning more towards doing Wixwell comps, and he may be a contributing factor towards a variation of that. But overall, you know, you see him come and go in terms of that, but sometimes he likes to peek his head. Cool champion, nevertheless. One of my first legendaries that actually, and you guys probably have heard me talk about the story, but he's one of the reasons why I'm still in this game, believe it or not. I pulled him on a random ancient YOLO pool, and it got me going down the rabbit hole of clan boss teams, and ended up getting Helicat, which we'll talk about in just a minute. And it, you know, it kept me in the game. So a lot of love goes to Brogni for me. Armand's the problem. If you don't even know this already, and you haven't had the chance to play PvP, you're gonna see him a lot. This guy's busted. Getting him his 6-star or any star in case you didn't have him blessed in any capacity. I don't need to go any further than that. This guy's busted, you know. So getting him empowered, or sorry, not powered, but blessed all the way up is definitely going to be valuable, right? So as we keep going down this list, you kind of notice I'm saying all these champions have their case usage of just being very good for your account, or very, very relevant, right? So I definitely think that, like, in terms of like this Altar or Soul event, it's very worthwhile to go for. So Helicath, block damage, useful for IT, clan boss. You can see him in Sin City. You can see him in a lot of different areas. Actually, you could pretty much almost use him in almost every concept because block damage is so strong. And he also comes with like a really hefty shield that scales off his defense. He has good base defense. A very capable champion. Personal love of mine. My favorite block damage champion, to be honest with you. Prince Kaimar, your resetter. Your speedy boy. He actually is the reason why I can actually hyperfine Fire Knight now, because of the fact that he's incorporated in there. It's built with him in mind. Nishak, our bomber. Has his case uses for sure. Definitely in PvP as well as in PvE. Lydia, mine, I will at least say, decreased defense and weaken. One of the first ones I ever got. Actually, she is the first one because I got Venus after her. You know, the reason why Faction Wars you have to grind so hard for is that you get her, and she's really worthwhile for it. So getting her blessed up and useful in some case scenarios or some usage where you can get like maybe Cruelty, or if you like that Brimstone and you want to get a better version of Brimstone. Various different ways you can use her, obviously. PvP too as well. You know, that block revive is a necessity if you're trying to do some weird combos. She could definitely do something there, right? So not a bad champion. Mashalad, depending on how you want to say his name. Increased speed, one of the first ones to be able to incorporate increased speed on a more consistent basis because it grants him an extra turn when he does his A2. So you can kind of cycle into it pretty quickly. Very, very good. Good with into Hydra. He has a really interesting mechanic, the way he interacts with fears, which makes him really cool with dealing with Torment. Hefrak, one of the first second type nukers I was exposed to in terms of like you go Stone Skin and just wait for him to crack your team so that he can crack their team and then you go ham, go home. Really, really good champion there. And then, of course, the one who I think dominated over Mashallah. Basically became the replacement for him. And to this day is one of the best damage dealers in Hydra, believe it or not, because of his passive and the way he scales. Very, very strong Razzlebark. One of my personal favorite fusions to go for. Worth it to this day, and I still stand him. As a matter of fact, I would not be against getting him empowered a little bit more. I got him all the way up to 6-star already, so I don't really feel too bad about not getting him in this particular pool of SoulStones, or jewels, if you want to call it there. But nevertheless, very, very formidable, very, very strong champion. Worth all the investment towards him, and getting him 6-star was game changer for my account. So if you want to get a little bit more ampage out of him, getting this SoulStone for him is not a bad option. Of course, Theodore, my first love of a solo dragon killer. I'm going down memory lane here with all these choices. They hitting my heartstrings with this one. Very capable from like a poison, HP burn explosion team concept. Solo dragon, still very good against poison, or into poison, using him as an option there. Just in general, he's really, really good. I actually use him in a very niche hybrid style build where he's able to tackle some of the more annoying, at the very least, depending on where you're at in the game, or even challenging to some degree. Champions like Scarab King, where he can I build him with decent resistance and let him, just constantly cycle through poisons, and the HP pool of the boss eventually goes down. You don't have to worry about, worrying about that extra shielding he does where he mitigates a lot of damage, that destroy HP being a factor, right? I just negate that and just say, hey, I'm just going to poison you while I survive, sustain build with poison and resist and let it cook. I still use that. So he's really, really good for that regard. Getting him a couple more blessings means he gets a little more stat bloat. Maybe I throw in Brimstone with him where it's protected or something along those lines, and he can be even more effective. I don't know. Could be something there. A true love of mine. Definitely love my Theodore. I have a couple of them now, so, love all of them. Hydra. I actually have mine already fully empowered, or fully blessed, fully awakened. So I don't feel too bad there, but I will say that this champion is really, really dope, not only in Hydra, some dungeon team comps where he has a very hefty 25% increased speed in dungeons. Very, very capable champion. Cleanse, ally attack, increased speed, cleanses debuffs, gives people buffs of all different types, so he covers every single damage dealer type in the game to some capacity. Very, very strong ally attacker. He's one of the better ones, if you want my opinion. I actually have him right now, I think, in my Brutal team, and he does work. Does some work. Obviously, we talked about Estrad earlier, about her capabilities as an increased speed, decreased speed champion. Very good Hydra PvP. 109 yards. Getting her blessed up is also really good, too. And, then, of course, we got some epics sprinkled along the way. So I will say this, overall, in terms of, like, the seal of approval of this particular type of summoning pool, there's a lot of epics. I think that they did try to balance it out, I feel like, pretty equally amongst epics and legendaries. But you could definitely tell they made sure that they put a decent amount of epics in there. So the pool is pretty hefty. But the choices themselves are all pretty good. Geomancer, Aniri, Allure, Stag Knight, Ruella, Taragi, all very, very strong and capable epic champions. These are amongst the better side of epic champions. So in all regards, this champion pool is a solid W. I'll say that now. I think it would be interesting if they would introduce mythics to these type of pools, and I think the reason why they're not is because that the mythic pool is already very small and limited. But I would not be mad if they threw in maybe one random one out of the pool of available mythics, and maybe that could be an incentive, because you really can't buy them in the soul market or the soul merchant or anything like that. You basically just have to pull their 6-star capable blessing from a SoulStone, and you just basically have to rip it, and you have to rip until you get that 6-star, right? So that could be something that they may consider in the future. I'm not entirely sure, but I would not be against it, because, like I said, mythics have become a lot more prominent in today's meta, in today's environment. They're very capable, they're very strong, very useful. So, with that being said, I wanted to do some pulls today. I had some dope community members that, salutes to you guys that have been very generous towards supporting me. Not only on the subathon, but also just in general. You guys have been very supportive. I want to thank you here yet again. But we're also going to go ahead and pull some. I got a little bit from my own stash, but also some people with the whole Soulathon is going to be contributing towards this today. So I'm going to pull a couple here. I want you guys to put your fingers together. You're going to see me get a little hype here. We're going to hit it with the praise. I want bangers. What do I want? I want a 6-star Trunda. That's the first thing. Yellow Trying to 4-star. Oh, you hurt me. 5-star Siffy. I need a 6-star Siffy. Armand, same thing. 6-star there. Yo, I'm getting yellows. Yo, keep it up, but raise it up to 6-star. I need 6-star. Not bad to start off, though. I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Not a bad start. They know what I want. I just need them to do it at a 6-star range. If I get just one 6-star, the top two, and I'm gonna just drop out here for a second here. The top two that I want the most is Trunda for Hydra purposes, obviously, and Siffy. Siffy would be great overall, especially for PvP. She's one of my best go-tos. Really love her to death. I think if I had to put like a third and a fourth, it'd probably be like Armand and, believe it or not, Lydia. I use them in some particular areas of the game that I would like to be more efficient in. Having them at their 6-star value would be dope. Let's keep it going. Praise! Come on, baby. I need them 6-star. Give me the 6-star version. Give me the 6-star version. I want some bangers. Ugo, not a bad champion. Yellow! Brogni. I think I have a better blessing than him already, so we might have to convert that over. Yellow again! Theodore. I think I already have a 3-star. That might be an upgrade, actually. It might be a W. 6-star Darkale. Mashallah. I actually just got my first and second Mashallah from the last Prism event, believe it or not. Or not the Ogre one, but the one before that. Dark Kale, I think, is a big W for me. I actually didn't have him 6-starred, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I have him built up and prepped whenever I need him. So, you know, Dragon Hard, boss killer could be a really good duo with somebody, and then maybe some case uses inside some areas in Sin City. I don't know. We'll have to see, but definitely not too bad. A 6-star there. So I need a 6-star legendary for the champions I want, though. Let's go in that direction. How about we go there? Come on, baby. Praise! I need a banger, dude. 5-star near. I think I have a 5-star already on her. I think most of the epics, too, I'm in a much more fortuitous state to say that I am blessed. Yellow, hold on. An Estrid. Oh, man. Another yellow. Mariska, 6-star. If only I had her, man. If only I had her, I'd slap that sucker right on her. But let me get to my statement. I think for the most part, most of my epics are pretty much awakened all the way up to the max. Most of the ones that you're probably seeing in this pool right now is pretty much there. So I'm kind of there. Yo, the Mariska one's not bad. Give me Trunda and Siffy, though. Come on, game. Why you being such a tease? Gimme. Praise! Come on, baby. I need a banger. I think a yellow. Come on. And Cora, I already have her 6-star. So that's a sell for me. I'm not in the line set of building up another one here. We got a Estrid 2-star. Come on, man. I need 6 stars. Yellow! Siffy 2-star. I need 6. So Artec 5. I think I have him at 5. Oh, this one's a little bit of a dud there. So far, the Mariska's a big banger. That's a nice one. That's not too bad. Not too bad at all. Come on, baby. I need a slammer. Give me the grand slam. Just give me the grand slam. I just want one banger. 5-star Sinisha's not bad though. I think she might be one that I'm not fully awakened on, so that might be a W there. Yellow. Half frag. I think I got him a 5-star already. Armand. I think I got him at 5-star too. Come on, baby. I need yellow. Come on. One banger on the way out. Come on. Go. Oh. My soul. Mi corazón. I think, honestly, I have an extra Ugo that I don't have fully awakened, so the 5-star one might be a big upgrade for her. I think the Geomancer, I'm either already fully awakened or it's pretty close to this, so Sinesha is definitely a grab here. The rest are all kind of, I think, sellables. Maybe the Daithi might not be bad. I have 2 Daithis that are fully ascended, fully decked out for Sin City. I actually built them specifically for that. Let's actually take a look and see what we got. So the Theodore was a good upgrade. I'm actually going to sit on that 3-star because I believe there's a Marius mission where they want you to awaken champions to a certain level, and I'm not sure if I already passed the 3rd one or not. But I'm going to save some of the 4-star ones. We're going to definitely peep that out. Matter of fact, I can do the 3 one since that one's there. That's an upgrade. They give me a little bit of defense there on that 3rd tier, so he's a little bit more tankier now. I got a 3-star waiting for him there. The Dark Kale was a big upgrade, so that's now 6-star. That's actually huge. Let's go. Let's see what else we got. My Ugo actually didn't have any. Well, I was sitting on some, unless those are from this pool. But a 4-star jump, not bad. Will be useful. It makes my faction wars at the very least very good. So, you know, I guess silver lining there. My Daithis didn't have a single blessing, so this is actually a huge upgrade. I got their respective attack at the 2-star as well as the 4-star crit damage. Definitely going to be a lot easier to build into. Empowerment's such a big deal, too, by the way, for these upgrades. 5-star from 0, big upgrade for epics. And we used to think like less of epics because, you know, legendaries are the power creep and eventually mythics now, too. But now with empowerment and the usefulness in Sin City, we respect the upgrades for the epics now, man. We definitely got a little bit more of a better upgrade. So I do have an upgrade. So that was a 4 to a 5, or I could just take this one all the way up to a fully ascend him and get him to 5. That'll be my 3rd one. I think the first Ugo I have is fully awakened. I have yet to use my Estrid. I know you guys are probably gonna be like, "Yo, what are you talking about? She's so good." It's been hard to kind of incorporate her in my teams, and I've seen what she's got from a damage capability. Not a bad option, don't get me wrong, but I think maybe not so much capable in terms of my team comps nowadays. Might not be as crazy incentivizing, but maybe I might find a way to use her. We'll have to see. But I at least got a 3-star waiting for her now, so that's going to be pretty cool. This is already there before. Mashalad, or Mashalad. I didn't have any buffs for it. He's one of my more recent ones that I acquired, so this is automatically a big upgrade. I got attack with him. Too bad I wasn't a 4-star. I'd be able to get maybe a little bit more crit damage on him if I ever needed to build him, so that might be a little bit useful there. But the big banger of this round is going to be the Mariska, huh? So I'm going to have to sit on that one. Interesting, man. I almost wish that I got at least the Trunda or the Sifty. Those are the big ones I really, really wanted, but... nevertheless, are you guys going to dip into this particular Altar Soul Prism Jewel event? I think that this is a good one to go for, especially if you're on the lower side for blessings. And allow me to express this. I wanted to show you guys this before I talked about it. I wanted to show you some pools because I wanted to celebrate with you, obviously. But also, I wanted to kind of show you the reality of some of the pools you got, right? I did get a couple epics or yellows, and don't get me wrong, with that first 10 pool was actually pretty nutty. It was way more than 28%. I think I got like the entire top row almost completely in yellow, so definitely a little bit more than the 28% in that round. But the other ones, you notice there were some that I didn't get any yellows at all, so it does balance out in terms of the 72 to 28%. But the likelihood of me getting a legendary, if I hit a legendary, which is already 28%, but then also hitting it at a 5-star or 6-star, excuse me, is 5.5%, and then in particular getting it amongst the pool, there's 4, 8, 12, 16, 20 Legos in this pool, so 1 out of 20 in terms of getting one that I wanted specifically, or 2 out of 20 if you want to go there. It's pretty rough. It's 1 out of 10, right? So a 10% chance for me to get what I was looking for there, particularly out of the 2 that I was looking for, right? Nevertheless, just want to make sure you guys are aware about the way that this drops is. It's basically the chance of you getting a legendary in a singular Prism Jewel pool is 28%. Then getting it a 5 or a 6-star is 5.5%, and then getting it from a particular champion you want has its own range of like difficulty, 1 out of 20 if you're going there, right? Now, there's a lot of champions in this pool that I actually wouldn't mind. Like I said, Armands, Lydia, Sify, Trunda would be all really cool champions to be able to get some extra ones, and I wouldn't mind some additionals from some of these other ones too as well, so it didn't really bother me. But there's also a good portion of this pool that I already have fully awakened, so I don't feel too bad about it. But it was celebratory anyway, so I'm treating it as like it's a W because I get to share the moment with you. So with that being said, I do want to know, are you guys going to dip your feet into this one? I think that if you are open to the idea of spending and you have access to a good portion of these champions, it could be up your alley, especially if your champion blessing range is lower than like 4-star, 3-star, something like that. This is definitely worthwhile to shoot your shot. At the end of the day, it's all RNG, so just take that in mind when you're making your decision. Of course, be frugal with your resources, and if you have the capability and you have the extra means to do it, by all means, dip into it if your heart desires, and if not, completely understandable. There is a event right now currently active, and they may actually introduce some more. This may be the only one. I'm not entirely sure. I believe this event's only going to last for like a couple days. Let's take a look here actually before we go in there. It's going to be for 3 days. As the time of this recording, it's 3 days and 14 hours, but I believe it's been live for about 4 days. It's going to be in total. So you have plenty of time to consider it. And then also there was a tournament, which is Epic only, which we're going to do a video on here right after this one, talking about the team I used to get there. But basically, once you claimed 2750 on the money, you would be able to get 45, which is just enough to at least do one pool. I believe it's 45 exactly. So you'll have enough to do at least one pool there, and you can kind of see what you're, get a little feel for it, and then maybe if you feel lucky enough, then you can kind of go from there. But anyways, we're going to do a video on that shortly after this one. But don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Thank you guys all for the love and support over these last couple months, man. This year has been phenomenal. It's been a W, and I hope to do right by you guys by introducing more content. So let me know also in the comments if you guys are interested in something in particular you would like to see. I'm all ears. We actually have a channel in my Discord where we talk about ideas that I'm actually going to try to see if we can maybe implement and do some things on where they talk about like things that they're interested in seeing, and I'll actually pick from that, maybe do some videos on it. We'll have to see. With that being said, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and as always remember, stay ascended.
Got the